So this time we have a condition where you are given the straight line, and from that line, you're asked to determine the gradient of the given line that is drawn already for you. It is there on the graph, then you are being asked to determine the gradient. So determining of the gradient, guys, is still the same as we referred previously, that we can actually determine the gradient of the straight line from what? The steepness of the slope, the change in y over what? The change in x. So if truly this is what we had before, gradient, I'm just going to use m to represent the gradient. Remember, the letter m can be used for what? For gradient. So we say this is simply the change in y over what? The change in x, which we can use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus what? x1. So I'm going to explain from the formula first, then you verify with the other way that we're going to have. So using the formula, what you're going to need are the points. So you locate, all right, from the given line that I'm having, what are the given points? So you can see, okay, here there's a point, and also this one is a point where the line is, which is visible. So this point is in the y-axis. So meaning we are given the y value, so the x value is what? It's 0. Remember, in the y-axis, x is what? 0. So the point is going to be 0, 3, x versus y. This one, 5, 0, the x value is the one that we have. What about the y is value? Y is equal to 0 in the what? In the x-axis. So x is 5, y is what? Y is 0. Using these points, we're going to have the gradient because we're going to name them x1, y1, x2, y2. Then from our gradient formula, y2 minus y1, it was going to be 0 minus 3 over x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus 0. So that was going to give us what? Minus 3 over what? Over 5. This is what you're going to have. But the same gradient that you are calculating like this, guys, could have just determined by understanding that that gradient is the change in y over the change in x. So what is that you do? You simply refer to this line, all right? Because we need the change in y first, then the change in x. So you must focus in the y from the y value. So from the y value, how are we going to move? Are we going to move going up, or the line is this side? We have to move going down because we have to meet this one in the what? In the x. So the change in y going down like this. From this concept, you can see that the change in y to the change in x, you must meet this where you've got what? The 90 degrees. You must have a 90 degrees. You form a right angle from that change in y and change in x. So this is our change in y. Where are we going, guys? Going down. That's a negative from 3 up to 0. So that's negative 3. And the change in x from that, why you continue with the movement. Change in x, we're going this way. These are the x values up to what? Up to positive 5. So x changed from 0 up to what? Up to 5. So that's what? Positive 5. We are going to the what? To the positive. So y? We are going in the what? Negative. So our gradient from the change in y over the change in x by this movement, y is going to change 3 units going down. So that's minus 3. And x is going to change 5 units going to the what? To the positive. So that is what? Positive 5. The same answer as what we had here, gradient, using those points, and we use the formula. So you can actually determine that gradient by movement, all right? Change in y, change in x. Make sure that you produce an L, all right? Wherever you're going to have that movement, you are going to produce an L, and do not shift when you're producing that L like this. Do not shift, all right? Continuously, you produce L from the y value. So you focus from the y value. like here from the y value, let's produce L from the y value. So it's going to be like this, just like that. So the change in y, we're going down. That's just like that. The change in y, we're going down. The change in x, we're going to the negative. So y, as we're going down, it becomes what? A negative from 3 to what? To 0, -3. The change in x from 0 to minus, we are going to the negative. So this is what? -2. So our gradient from the change in y over the change in x was going to be -3 over the change in x -2. So this will give us what? 3 over 2 at the end. So even if we're going to use the point, this point is what? -2, 0. And this point is what? Is 0, 3. So I want you to use these 2 points. You'll see that you're going to have the same answer for that gradient. All right, let's check this one. The change in y over the change in x from the y value, this is a y value. So y is changing going what? This side. The change in y to where we have the right angle. All right, the change in what? The change in x. So I changed from -3 to what? To 0. From -3 to 0, you are going up. From -3, you're going to the bigger values. So that's positive what? That's +3. The change in x from 0 to 5, you're going to the what? Positive values. So that's it. Our gradient, change in y over change in x. So I changed +3 going up and x +3 going to the what? To the right, of which you can use points to say this point, I know it's what? 0 -3. X is what? 0. Y is -3. This point 5, when x is 5, it simply means what? X is 5. Y is what? Y is 0. You use these points and use the formula. You're still going to have the same answer as before. So here is just for verification's sake that we can find the gradient by just moving change in y to the what? To the change in x by forming an L in whatever movement that you're going to have. That is how you simply determine your gradient. So we shall meet again in another class, but for now, that is it till we meet again.